Hey, another company that has a beautiful target, Red Canyon. They've commenced drilling at their Peak Copper Gold project. I didn't talk about Peak in detail a couple of weeks ago when I first talked about Red Canyon, but it is the favorite of the team at in the company. Okay, so Wendell and Alistair really like the Peak Copper Gold project. I've reviewed the data. It's pretty compelling, a very good IP response, certainly good geochemistry at surface. And these guys are going to go out and give it a heave ho already. Okay, so this is one to keep an eye on. If you like copper discovery or copper gold discovery, this is run by a very sophisticated team who's looking at this very high grade, notice up to 2% copper, high grade anomaly with a beautiful IP feature, a large chargeability feature. They're going to give it a heave ho. So let's stay tuned. And Greg Hart, by the way, who's also part of the Snowline team, is also working with Red Canyon. He knows his stuff. Okay, if there's anybody that's going to come up with a beautiful target, it's Craig. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, Novo. Look, this is out of the left field, but it's actually very encouraging news. Look, I'm not a big fan of lithium. Most people know that. Especially hard rock lithium, but if others want to explore for it, hey man, I'm all in. Okay, so a few months ago, Liatam we struck a joint venture. I'm a director, by the way, of Nova. We struck a joint venture with Liatam to come in, spend money on lithium exploration at this Quartz Hill joint venture in particular, and then also this area we call lepidolite fields. I'll show you a map in a minute. And you know what? They've found some pretty good results. Okay, quite a few samples in the percentage plus of lithium oxide. But notice there's a lot of tantalum oxide in here. So there's pretty good values of tantalum and cesium. Okay, I mean this is crazy, but basically might be the hidden gem in this pegmatite. There's very high values of cesium here. It's how it occurs, I'm not exactly sure, but cesium is a very valuable metal. And they might have stumbled across one of the very rare, very few pegmatites where there's, economic levels of cesium. And companies that find cesium often mine them quickly because it's so high in demand. It's used in the oil industry for very special purposes, and they pay any price they can. Anyway, go to the next slide. Here you can see the pegmatite field. It's about, in aggregate, it's about 11 or 12 kilometers long. Okay, so Quartz Hill West and then lepidolite fields. This is a huge pegmatitic complex. Okay, if there's these kind of results, especially with that cesium in there, this could get really interesting quick. And fortunately, Liatam is spending their money on it, and Novo is going to be the beneficiary of this. So this could be a sleeping prize here for Novo. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, Intrepid made an announcement this week. Beautiful target that they're drilling there, copper gold. It's in Arizona. This, in my view, is a deposit, a system very similar to Bisbee, which is a famous mining district in Arizona. Copper gold, IOCG is my view. I know that some people say, "Oh, don't they say it's a porphyry?" I don't think it is. I think it's an IOCG personally. Okay, but they managed to complete nearly 5,000 meters in 25 holes. They've announced 17 of those, so we should expect results for at least 8 more holes coming up shortly. But really good numbers. Go to the next slide. So far, you can see many of these holes, if we converted these to gold equivalent, basically everything on this list just about, I think, is, everything is well over 100 gram meter gold equivalent. In fact, some of these are several hundred gram meter gold equivalent. But these are really strong results, shallow mineralization. I think they have a robust system here. I think they do need to test it at depth, see how some of these chutes, project downward, and what's happening at depth, because it might be the better part of that system is actually down a bit deeper. All right, but good start. Let's go to the next slide. Harvest Gold. I talked a little bit about this recently, where the company kind of resurrected itself. They tried testing the Emerson porphyry up in BC a couple of years back. Because the company came to me and they said, look, that one didn't work, but we're going to work hard to find something that will. We stuck with them. Okay, it was because their team is dedicated, and they didn't come and say, oh, we don't care about you guys anymore. You can leave. Sell your stock and leave. They actually came to me and they said, by gummy, we think we can strike a deal on some really attractive ground in Quebec. Okay, so they picked up a strategic land position. Go to the next slide. In Quebec, due west of the area where Windfall and the Berry deposit. Windfall, of course, huge notoriety lately with a Cisco in this area, drilling away major gold discovery. Well, notice those green belts of rock. They project westward, okay? They're kind of broken up by the pink granites. That's typical. You often get granite intrusions kind of chopping up the greenstones. But boy, when you jump over and you look at this terrain over to the west, and you think that's never seen much exploration at all, I think these guys have a pretty good shot of making discovery here. Now, that urban barrier area is really interesting because there's a lot of that shows up as being pink, like there's no greenstone there. Well, there's a lot of glacial till here, and the magnetic data that they have actually suggests otherwise. So let's go to the next slide. So they did some work here recently, and go back just a second. I got to I put the slides in the wrong order. We're going to go to the Mousseau project first. Okay, so it's the one on the far left. Okay, you can see over there, and then we'll look at that urban berry. All right, go to the next slide. So here's Mousseau. Magnetics suggest very finely banded rocks, classic greenstone. Okay, so they have just an ocean of greenstone terrain to explore here. They've got something like 12 or 15 linear kilometers of strike along this belt. Lots of gold anomalies. These are data that are derived from databases in the government, but there's a lot of gold showings in this terrain. These guys have a very fertile area. This reminds me of back in the period, say about 25, 30 years ago in Australia, where the folks in Australia kind of migrated outwards into the eastern gold fields. They went progressively further and further to the east into more uncharted greenstone terrains, and they made phenomenal discoveries. Okay, so basically these guys have gone out, they've acquired these packages over greenstone. Now they've done the magnetics, and you can see wow, there's a bunch of greenstone there, and now they're going to go explore it. And I'm really happy to see a company jump in, do grassroots level work like this. Go to the next slide. Here we go. Here's the urban berry area. Remember when I said that pink is a bit deceiving? I think given all the linears that you see in here, much of this property is underlain by greenstone. So again, although there's no gold showings here because of the till, the glacial cover that's extensive over here, this looks ripe for discovery. Okay, so these guys have a really, really nice property to tackle, and we're going to be there to support them. Go to the next slide. Okay, red pine. Look, I got to hand it to Mikhail. He's come in to a very awkward situation where the previous CEO perhaps manipulated data, and it led to a very, very worrisome outcome. I mean, basically, the company had to announce that, well, a lot of the results that have been released over the past 10 years or so were falsified. A lot of the higher grade, especially, it sounds like. Okay. But I've tried to tell people over and over again, this project has been drilled for, going back for several decades here. So it's not like there's nothing here. Okay. There's actually a deposit here. And the company was actually continuing to drill this whole time. But this, handed to him for cleaning everything up. He got all that news out. And now they're starting to release news. And I would say, given his record at West Dome, this is not a guy that messes around. He's starting to reset the table, so to speak, for further announcements. And they've done a good job here. I mean, this, that's a 100 meter hole there. The one that you see, 5.58 gram per ton, over 18.44 meter. You can see where it's located. It's right in the middle of the high grade You can see the darker red, the high grade deposit at Surluga. And I think we have the company in capable hands. So we, even though the company's been through heck and back, okay, we are supportive of good people doing the right thing with money and a good deposit. All right. So there you go.